I am gonna find out if this is actually going live. Oh,
It says it
oh,
is.
it's always. I'm gonna actually look on the website if it's going live. So it's always interesting to be like the host as well as the. Oh yeah, it is going live. Okay, cool. Yeah, and I'm like the producer and the host and the other. Okay. Well, let's just go ahead and get started. Anyways, this is just a reach out to everybody who is interested in getting their business right-sided, especially during COVID. And I've got really two really awesome people. Colette, who is a real estate agent and is married to someone who is not a real estate agent, who also took the class together. Oh, and then we have Mary, who also is not a real estate agent, and she's married to somebody who also took the class. So we have two spouses of couples who took the class together. So anyway, so the question I have is just an open one. What was life like before taking a class on how to develop your relationships organically, your business organically, and what was like afterwards?
Do you want to start, Colette, or do you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead, Mary. So Mary LeMaster is a co-owner of an inspection company that started with her husband first about 5 years ago. And she took the class, I think, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that. So
I took it last year, actually, but he took the class. He's taken the class a few times. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So go ahead, Mary.
So before, we were struggling with how to meet and retain agents. We were doing open houses, we were sponsoring breakfasts, and everything you were supposed to do on paper, everything they tell a home inspector to do, right? But the problem was, how do we retain or get those agents to retain our information and remember our faces? So that was the real question, because you can do a million breakfasts, but if there's no follow-up, they're just going to forget who you are as soon as they finish that bagel, right?
Right.
So taking, before Pathways, there was that issue of how do we keep ourselves relevant and current with all those faces we meet? Because in 1 year, we could meet 1,000 or more faces. So,
hold on 1 second.
Is that you?
I was wondering who that was.
You know what? Technology. This is gonna ring for a couple seconds, so I apologize. Keep going. So you're doing all these things that you're supposed to, like marketing and all that stuff, but then you realize, crap, how do I maintain how do I maintain these things?
Yeah, there was no way to essentially keep those contacts that we were aware of, right? So we were doing everything we thought we were supposed to do, but it wasn't generating the leads that we thought spending that amount of money and spending that amount of time would generate.
Sure.
Yeah.
So. Sure. And so what happened after you took the class?
Well, after, we started collecting biz cards, we started writing the thank you notes aggressively. Even, we call them thank you notes, but even if it's not a thank you, it's always a follow-up note. Every time we meet somebody at one of these breakfasts, we collect cards to do a giveaway. That's our sneaky tactic to get the cards. And then we follow up. Yeah, we follow up with a nice to meet you note. They get funded on all social media platforms, and then they get put into our automated mail system to get follow-up letters if they're clients, happy birthday cards on their birthday, stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah, and social media has been a huge help because we're in their face every time they log into Facebook or scroll through Instagram or even TikTok or YouTube. So.
Yeah, you guys are you're next level when it comes to social. I'm learning from you guys for sure. But like from numbers perspective, in terms of number of clients, number of, I guess, inspections, what was it like before, and then now that you kind of implemented a lot of this stuff? Was it 2 times, 3 times, 5 times, 10 times? If you
So
had to
I'm
guess.
not great. I'm not great with percentages, but I can give you hard numbers.
Okay.
Before Buffini, our first year we did 150 inspections, and then Chris took Buffini. The following year we did 1,500 inspections.
What?
And then
Wow.
this 2,000. So, I mean, definitely, obviously, percentages are not my. It works, people.
So can you say
So-
those three numbers again? What was the first number?
Sure. So year one would have been about 150.
Okay.
And then by year 2.5, let's say 2.5, because we took Buffini and had to have time to implement it, we had about 1,500. And then this year we'll have, we'll do 2,000.
Nice.
Wow. That's
And if I
fantastic.
remember correctly, you guys added some staff too. Right after Chris and I took the Buffini class together the first time, you guys added staff, I think. Because I remember
Yeah,
him.
we did.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. The more people
in the first class. I think you were in it with me, the first one. No, or maybe it must have been the second one.
Yeah, I took the one in fall of 2018.
Okay.
19. Whatever happened before 2020, I don't know. It's all a blur now.
We're all that way.
So I think it was fall of 19. So just recently.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. That's
so
great.
how about you, Colette? So you're an agent.
Yeah, and what's funny is people ask all the time, well, I don't know how am I going to find clients? How am I going to find clients? And I have told dozens of people on social media, off social media, we'll give Buffini a try. And you can lead the horse to water, but you cannot make them drink. So if you can give the information out, you can tell them that this is going to change how they view getting clients. And the rest of it, there is no other magic wand for it. I mean, it is pretty basic. You start with your list, but it's a different way of approaching it. And I think that's the number one thing. People are always asking, well, dialogue, I need the dialogue. Well, this, I think, gives you a very easy dialogue to remember. If dialogues are your main concern with how you're going to approach your business, then I think Pathways has that for everyone. And it's a very basic dialogue. It's a very non-threatening dialogue. And once you get the dialogue down, it is really just a conversation that you're having. It's an everyday conversation, and you're working the word referral into it. And you're not always directly using the word referral. So I think that it's interesting that over the past 3-4 years that I have implemented Buffini, it's just a normal arm length conversation where you end up telling people, I love giving referrals to people just as much as I love getting referrals. And it's a fantastic way to ask for a referral and not even ask for a referral.
Yeah.
Instead of telling everybody, well, I'm a realtor, I'd really like it if you, do you have a friend or a family member that you can give a referral to me? There's other methods out there. Sure. There's other dialogues. It's not just the standard, and it's not operating off of a postal bought social media list that is advertised all over the place. And that way it just kind of gets your foot in the water, and then you can build from there. And not that those other things don't work as well. Some realtors are very successful with those lists. I just find that this more basic way of interacting with people pays off better for me than anything else out there that I found for realtors. And the dialogues are very easy, and it allows you to separate out the 3 different things that you're going to do as a business owner, because those, I think, are the hardest for anybody getting into this business, especially if they never owned a business before they go into real estate. Right. And I know that coming out of a corporation where you did your job, and then there was somebody else up the ladder that did HR, and somebody else up the ladder that did finance, and somebody else that did this, you have to do it all. And it's very basic and broken out to give you the structure that you need. And then from there, you can take that structure and build on it, and then create your business from there and go with it where you will.
That's awesome. Yeah, it gives you a track, and it gives you one track. Right? So That's awesome. So tell me, what was your before and after like, before Buffini, and then how your business is?
Okay, so that's going to be a little tough for me because I don't think I was in it for a year before I actually joined it. So I'm not going to have a good basis for that. But I did spend, I think, about 6 or 8 months. And I was trying to think, well, how am I going to find business? Where am I going to find business? And then Peak Producers was offered. And I think Steven took it actually the first time and showed it to me. And then after I got my license and I kind of fumbled my way through, 1 or 2 transactions, October popped up at the end of the year and he's like, well, why don't you take Buffini? And I did. And I think from there, it just changed how I viewed real estate as a business.
That's awesome. Yeah. And you're in coaching now, right? With Buffini?
I am. And from that, it led me to believe that if I can build up so far with pathways, then I was ready to take the next step, which I think is having somebody who's accountable to you, a couple of times a month, to make sure that you don't kind of waver off like we can do, where you kind of get off track a little bit because you get, the shiny objects are on the left and household chores are on the right and family is in a different state. And that's
pandemic and the world.
Pandemic and, So this has been a phenomenal way to just keep track every month. And amazingly, I don't feel like I'm as off track having a coach than I have in the past, where, by the time January, February, you kind of go strong from October all the way around to about, I'd say like February or March. And then you find that you kind of start, you're going into that second quarter and you just kind of get sidetracked, right? Business has been good. And then you're in the spring and it's pretty and the flowers are blooming and all of a sudden you're sidetracked off onto other things. So it's been a good way to keep it fairly consistent. And I love that she asked me things every month, like, well, what is your pop by going to be this month? Well, it's September. The kids aren't going back to school. What kind of pop by do you give in the middle of a pandemic in September? September is like it was the school month, you had your summer stuff and then you had I don't know what the heck to give anybody in September month, but that's okay. It's back to school. And then you roll into October and you already know what you're going to do for October, right? I mean, it's a given.
That's
so
awesome.
September was the school month and it's like, thank goodness for social media and all these people posting about how awful it is to be there for their kids, because they've given me phenomenal ideas to bring to their homes so that they're not stressed out at the end of the day after homeschooling their kids.
Well, good. Well, you guys, thanks so much for taking a moment of your day to share about your experience. And hopefully some people will be signing up for October. Yay.
All right. Sign up for it.
All right. Thanks, you guys. Hold on one second.